Hi guys, my name is Preeti. I'm an architect from India and I recently moved to Malaysia. A few of my students have really encouraged and motivated me to start off this channel. And yes, of course, this channel is going to be for students of design and architecture, and it would hopefully help them learn, inspire, and motivate each other in the field of design. I've been discussing with a few of my students, and I kept asking them if they have any suggestions of what is the first topic that I would cover. And of course, on wood basis, the $1,000,000 question was what is the concept and design process. So today we are going to be dealing with what is concept and design process. Shall we move on to the subject? Concept mean in architecture. There is this one architect called Ken Chan who says concepts, theories, philosophies are simply ideas. They're just different categories for the same word, like a room, a house, a street, and a city and country. The room is the idea, the house is a concept, the city are your theories, and the country is the philosophy. So this person is actually going on hierarchical basis, but from a basic architecture student's point of view, I think the person would find it very, very vague, because he just told his philosophical opinion about what is concept. So I moved on to the next person who's replied. This is Pradeep Atri, and he's a landscape enthusiast. Your solution to your design problem. And the next few answers were by Rubina and Aditya Chandrasekhar. You can see on the screen, Rubina says concept is an idea which further helps in the design process. Basically, concept and design are directly proportional to each other. So she says the more concept develops, the more design also develops. Yeah, it's something like that. But again, that's very derivative, I can say, because it really sounds something like physics or chemistry. So Aditya Chandrasekhar here, he says a concept is an idea around which the design is based. Yeah, this I do agree to. If you ask me what is concept, I would actually say concept is a term that is actually a gist of your entire project's idea. Like, for example, let's say you're making a recipe, like you're cooking something, and in order for you to cook that, you will need the requirements or the ingredients for the recipe, and also you will need to know the process of the cooking. You will need to know on the step methods, and also the tips and tricks for the cooking and the recipe to come out well. Now design is something like that. So in order for you to make your client or the person who's going to eat your recipe to convince themselves to take or accept your project, you will need to make sure that they have an appetizing feeling for your dish. So you need to make sure that you highlight on the ideas that you are going to be implementing on your design in such a way, in a very illustrative and presentable manner, that they are going to say, oh yes, this collection of ideas, these are what are going to work out for my design, or this is what the project is going to be about, and this is the most suitable. Yeah, okay. So when I browse through the net, if at all there are students who are really looking for the specific answer of what is concept, I will actually simply put it like this, when you try to address your project by answering questions in a single sheet in an illustrative manner, let's say on what the project is about, what is its function, and those kind of details, where it is situated, the location, the proximities, why the function of the project, what are the purposes of the requirements in the project, what is the theme you're going to be deciding on, what are the materials you're going to be using, how are you going to express your idea of the project, and where on where the project is going to be situated. It goes on like the collection of basic questions. So if you ask me, I would say if you put up in a sheet in a very, very illustrative manner, answering the questions like how, what, when, why, where, I think it pretty much explains your concept. So we move on to the detailed version. When you take concept, that is architect Yasser Magoo, I have displayed a graphical representation of his idea on how a concept can be arrived at. He actually takes it something like in a form of a Venn diagram, where it's considering the site, the program is nothing but a project, and then the building. So that will be considered including the exterior form and interior spaces. And of course, if you look at the side of the diagram, it actually even shows the individual integers like the site elements, climatic elements, the building elements, and how the solutions can be acquired if you intersect all these aspects in a combined manner. Yeah, I can say that. Now, if we try to take integers in a separate way, I can start off by explaining something that's related to the form, because when you look at architectural students, the younger ones, say the semester 1 or the semester 2 students, usually are very fascinated by using different forms to the building. So I'm going to start off with that part in the beginning, which is nothing but getting inspired by nature and trying to imitate that in your project. Okay, so now there are two forms of imitation or getting inspired by nature in design. In that, I can actually say one is actually just for the sake of aesthetics, exterior, only for the exterior form. The other is only on the interior as well as the exterior. Now, the one in the exterior form, that is something like the elevational treatment, it can be called as the biomorphic design. The process of getting inspired by a natural element and trying to implement all the aspects that you find in that element into your project, only when it is relevant, that is supposed to be called as a biomimic or a biomimicry design. Now, when you try to acquire a simple geometric shape or a form, combine and intersect it to compose a form, and come up with a very fluid or a very intricate form, then that is actually going to be called as a parametric design. If you look at the following images, you will be able to understand. Now, in this first image, this is actually an image of a normal building which is just in the shape of a cuboid, except the exterior of the building has been treated in such a way that it appears to be like the nest of a bird. Thus, getting inspired by the nest of a bird, and it is biomorphic because it is just the form and not the functionality. If you look at this second image, it actually arrives at this certain form by using variable number of circular forms or shapes intersected and composed to form this shaded area on a probable pavilion. When you consider biomimicry, there are a lot of criteria that you can be considering, like the natural science, the structure and system, function and mechanism, communication and network, the construction of or the city, design and evaluation, the production and the materials. These aspects you will know only when you try analyzing on what is that project that you are designing and which is the most relevant aspect that you can be utilizing in your design. moving on to the next possibility in design. The next possibility including in your concept is the usage of a certain style of architecture. It could be any of the isms, something like cubism, modernism, contemporary architecture. And in the following image, you will be able to follow that it's actually an example of a sofa design using cubism. The next image actually has freestyle. In this, you will be able to follow when you move between these images. You'll be able to follow the fact that they have actually purely used the characteristics of that particular design or particular style of architecture in order to attain the outcome of the design of this particular project. This can be done for any project. Next consideration I would be suggesting is with the materials that you can use. But as far as this is concerned, this is a very tricky part, because you'll need to be able to justify on what material you're using and why you're using that material. You cannot just say, okay, bamboo is my favorite material, so I'm using it. You can never say that. But you can actually say bamboo is a green material, and thus as it's also nearly available to the site in abundance, I thought, why not use bamboo? And it's also structurally strong enough to create a good open or semi-covered spaces like this. If you look at the next image, this is actually a very smart usage of translucent concrete. So here, the reason the architect can point out is the usage of translucent concrete in order to inscribe sacred writings on the wall, which actually lights up in the evenings, creating a beautiful elevation for the mosque that is situated in Abu Dhabi. And the next thing you can consider in including the concept of your design is something that is an advantage for your design, something that is unique or special. Like for example, here we can look at the Changi airport, that's in Singapore. They have a vertical garden that's really very interesting. And the next thing is they have a butterfly garden. A butterfly garden which has about 1,000 varieties of butterflies. Here, the reason I say it's an advantage is because not only that does the travelers get to go see it just like that, but it even becomes more like a tourist attraction. So people can actually take breaks within their flights and they go to visit this place, in that way improving tourism in Singapore. You can actually think of something brilliant like that when you're coming up with design. So it is okay to deviate a little bit away from the function of your design as long as it is still relevantly justifying your design. Now, the next thing I would suggest is a technicality in your design. Like in this image, if you see, it's actually a sustainable building which is based on solar passive design. In the same way, you can actually even consider other sustainable ideas or even barrier-free design or anything of that sort that will actually be giving you a leading path. Because these kind of technicalities will actually be able to constrain you to a certain path that actually justifies your design automatically. So moving on to the next level in the process of design. Once your concept is ready, you will have to decide on how your circulation flow is going to be. So in order for you to know that, you need to first decide which space comes next to which space and which space need not be close to each other. Yeah. So in order to get to know about that, we are going to have to do something called the proximity analysis. It's nothing but a chart that can be made with the list of requirements that you take and making a 45-degree angle from the vertical list, you will be able to indicate. If you see this image here, they have used only two indicators, indicators that might probably be meaning say near by each other, or it might be meaning far from each other. The same way, if you look at the next image, they have actually tried and made it a little more detailed. So you have immediate, that can or should be next to space. Then you have relative, can be close to space. You have void, that do not put spaces next to each other. And then you have general, spaces can go either way. This way, when you try to locate your the spaces or the rooms that you're going to have in your design, you will be able to come up with a better circulation and zoning in your project. Okay, in this image, when you see, you also come up with the extra integers they have considered, like the daylight, privacy, and plumbing. The site analysis. A site analysis is also a very vital consideration in a concept and design, because the site can actually decide the design when you're starting off with a project. If a site is actually located in a very scenic area, you can start off your design based on the views that's happening around the site. If a site is having some climatic challenges, you can actually start off your design based on the climatic advantages of the site. And if the site is actually having a lot of natural entities like the trees and any water bodies, then you can again have your design work around these natural elements in such a way that the design comes up in a very interesting way. Now, if you see this image that's shown here, it's a very graphic, I can actually say a very detailed naturalistic image, wherein the person has tried showing every possible consideration he or she has done, like explaining about the prevailing winds, the sun path, the sun angle, and how there's going to be the points of views, and how there are going to be the natural elements that are present inside the site, near the site, what are the physical entities like the buildings that are adjacent to the site, what is happening across the street of the site, and what are the neighbors, and all these considerations which will definitely help yourself promote your design in a better way. Now, this is a very illustrative site analysis sheet. In case if you do not want to get into too much of detailing, you can look at this following image, which actually has a very geometric and illustrative graphic representation in the form of arrows and lines. You can actually use it more like a map with a legend. You can do this also. And then in this following image, you see that the person has actually tried highlighting on the interesting spaces and tried directing the viewer into that specific view he wants to or she wants to depict in the process of the design of the project. Both image, when you see, you would be able to understand it is a contoured site, and the person has definitely considered the levels in the site and used it as an advantage. This can be done only when you move on to the concept after your site analysis. Now, moving on to the next level in design, which is nothing but the bubble diagrams or the circulation diagrams. Like the name suggests, circulation diagram is nothing but a gist of the idea of you showing your client or the juror or your lecturer how a person can move from the main entrance to the entire space in your project. Now again, you will have to make sure that you try and zone your spaces according to how they are used, not how they look. Okay, so always try and concentrate to consider the function before your form. Only when you are sure of what your functionality is, you can move on to modifying the form of your design. So in this first image, we'll be able to see that it's actually a performance center, we can say, how the person has tried showing the movement of circulation from the main entrance to the least exposed or the private areas like the toilets in the campus. If you look at the second image, this is actually a simple bubble diagram which actually indicates what are the natural elements that are impacting the design and why this certain person has made the bubble diagram in that particular manner. This is very interesting. You can try that. The next image, if you see, you will be able to understand that the person has tried considering the views in the site. Although it is a contour site, the person has tried to show the movement in the form of depicting the desirable views in the site. Now, the next image actually shows on how the person has actually considered sun path in the site and tried using it as an advantage in order to form the layout of the site. If you look at this present image, you will be able to see that this person has literally almost shown the form of the design in a very fluid manner, wherein he or she has also shown the bubble diagram of the design. This is a very mature or a refined bubble diagram, I can say.